Good Monday morning, folks. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet because the letter that I am reading is quite long. I hope you listen till the end. Overlook any mispronounced words. Um, this is a very educated friend of mine. They hold degrees in psychology, criminal psychology. They have a background in law enforcement, in therapy, psychology, you name it, they know it. Listen till the end, overlook any pronounced words like that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, like, share, hit the bell so you're notified, and don't forget to leave your comments down below. Enjoy, guys. That's all I can say. Summerwell's theory. Let me preface this by saying I am not an authority on this case. I am theorizing from an educational and experimental point of view. This is to say that it must be stated this is only my educational opinion. Let's start at the beginning. The timeline as we know it now has been proven to have many flaws, if not outright untruths. This renders it irrelevant, but not useless. Summer gets up and goes and spends the morning having fun, mommy time with her mother. They go swimming, they go for slushies, they go shopping, and hang out with H and watch TikTok videos. Grandis has already said with a straight face that she was at the hospital, and the hospital says that each visitor is there for at least a few hours due to sickness and social distancing. We have no idea what actual times any of this took place because TikTok only records and uploads time and date. So theoretically, June the 15th could have been the upload date and not the actual date of events. All we have to go on is hearsay of witnesses who have already destroyed their own credibility. The likelihood of Candace spending mommy time with Summer for normal parental reasons has already been negated by many witnesses who have nothing to lose nor gain, who say that she just allowed the children to free roam and be feral. She rarely even cooked for them. What made Candace go out of her way to put a new outfit on Summer, shave her head, and spend time with her, to include going and getting H, whom Summer adored by all accounts? We know these events happened, but we do not have the exact time. So let's break it down. What really matters? Summer, Candace, Grandis, and H spent at least the first 4 hours of the day together, as best as we can surmise. Grandis says she wasn't sure what swimming hole they went to, what happened in the first 3 to 4 hours of Summer's active day, special time with Mommy, and the exact words and categories of words that were used in the first 12 hours of the day are all that really matter. There are two theories. One, moral injury and cover-up. Two, sold or trafficked. We can only guess that the report of Summer hanging out and having fun is a truthful statement. Was Candace spending special time with Summer because she knew that it was the last few hours she would have her and either wanted the memory for herself or for Summer to have the memory? They shaved her head to make her look like a boy. Summer's personality profile does not fit this. She would not want her head shaved. She was by all accounts a tomboy, who wore lavenders, little dresses, hair pieces, pinks and whites, and preferred cute shoes, if she wore them at all. She loved Frozen, princesses, stuffed animals, puppies, and kittens. But she also loved being outside, preferred sunlight and her swing. Chased her brothers all over that hill, and has purported has reported to have a very confident and bossy personality. She was a queen, and she knew it. We can rule out that she wanted her head shaved. I surmise that her head was shaved in preparation for transport across country lines. Her dad bragged incessantly in the beginning about working as a drug runner and how easy it was to smuggle drugs, contraband, and children across the border into Mexico. Nobody questioned that last statement. It is easy to smuggle children. How would he know unless he has either done it or has been in a ring that did it? The child was accidentally videotaped wearing the new pink school outfit. She was rarely to never given new clothes. Candace said she went to a lot of garage sales. The video was done on purpose as part of building what was supposed to be the scene and potentially a memory. Why else would Candace care if, listen to the words, Summer held her arm over her head like her dad? This was an uncommon and out of place event for Candace. This is not part of her usual regimen of videos. We have seen enough of her type of videos to know that it was done on purpose, but not for the right purposes. Was Summerwells prepped to be sold, given away? We know that Candace did not want a girl, that CPS was due the following morning, and that Don had outright stated, ironically immediately after talking about Summer going missing, that he couldn't catch another felony or he would face 25 years to life in prison. He also admitted to essaying his sisters. We know that she was coerced in the video where she was dancing in the rain in that video. She was being told what to do and how to move. It doesn't take someone with a degree in psychology to see that. That was a very staged event. To recap, abnormal actions taken: new clothes, a shaved head that does not match profile, an abnormal video, and a pending threat of CPS and a prison sentence. Next, let's go to the moment Summer allegedly went missing. I will preface that by saying that Summer Wells is not missing. She is only missing to the police, the public, and the TBI. Her parents know exactly where she is, and they have as much admitted this. Insert my irritation with presenter here. Why does hardly anyone listen? They get a tiny piece of information and hear what they want, but they are not really listening. They are listening to the story, but not the words. I feel that Dawn and Candace have confessed and that Grandis is involved in both Summer and Rose's disappearance. Let me explain. Words are critical. Categories of words are critical. When I sit down with a client, I must hear what it is they are really saying. Dawn and Candace are ignorant, but they are not stupid. There is a big difference in law enforcement when it is deemed that a child goes missing without a trace. Please hear these words. It generally means that it was either a very well thought out plan to the last letter, or it was a professional job. Don has already confessed to working as a drug runner and expressed how easy it is. He did this for a time as his profession, such as it is. Now, we are going to talk about Jose and Tim and the trip from New York, which, by the way, had nothing to do with the Wells house other than that was Jose's original destination. We'll come back to that. The words the parents spoke in the first 12 hours of that day, coupled with Summer's activities with her suddenly doting mother, are really the two most important factors of this situation. The exact words spoken by Grandis, Candace, and Dawn in the first hour after she was reported missing were repeated literally dozens of times. Never, always, someone, just knew, I don't know, everyone, and finally, abducted. The parents said Summer's name just a few times to let the police at least know the child's name. After that, in further interviews, they used past tense verbiage and called her or she when referring to their daughter. Take note that every word except abducted is what is called a sweeping statement, meaning that they are trying really hard to shove and simplify everything into a category to avoid details. If I say everyone is a jerk and people are always mean, I am really saying I am including everyone but myself, and I do not want to talk about this any further. When I say I don't know, without adding a qualifier like I don't know about mechanics, then I am saying I don't know anything. Another sweeping statement. And quit questioning me. I believe Don and Candace carefully crafted a story to tell the police and simplify it as much as possible, not realizing that the words they choose would ultimately hang them. The most damning word of all said multiple times in the first hour of her missing was abducted. This roughly translated in Don Candace and Grandis speaks. Uh, Don, Candace, and Grandis speak means that someone else has her. We are fully aware of this. We know where she is. But go ahead, go on a wild goose chase as long as you are building a case for our feigned innocence. When people have done something horrible, regardless of the level of moral compass they do or do not have, they still have a sense of dissonance. This is that feeling that you get when you are uncomfortable with yourself or something else and want to be relieved of the feeling. In this case, Don and Candace relieved their burden by using words like abducted and other such leaky words that let just enough of the truth, however twisted, to be relieved so they could feel good about what they had done. In their own head, they have probably rationalized their actions in some way that made it okay with them. For Candace, it was, I was always buying things for summer, or other very plastic or artificial sentiments that the hearer of the statement could tell was insincere, but made her actions justifiable. To Candace, by saying she was abducted, they were admitting that Summer was in fact in someone else's hands. Or was she? Remember, Dawn has said repeatedly to anyone who would listen, I know for a fact she was kidnapped. That statement is again a warning to not look at him and a plea to believe that Summer was abducted in the police sense that someone stole her. How about some more words? It doesn't matter even how they say the words. Body language has already told their horrible story, but in this case, I believe it was unnecessary. I will see her in the resurrection. Dawn is not necessarily saying she is dead, but that is what he wants everyone to believe. It may or may not be true. He does not want anyone looking for her. The words they are using are being used to stop people from searching for that child. As all three of you know, my husband and I are, anyway, so you can imagine how this caught my attention. To me, that stood out like a red flag. He instinctively, in the first 24 hours of her disappearance, wanted to make sure everyone believed she was gone and would never be found. The next important words that were literally adopted by the entire YouTube community are get gone and got gone. They are really important. You know that I have lived blank almost all my life, but what you didn't know is that I am adoptee. My adoptive parents were from blank and blank. They took those words very seriously. If my papa told a stray dog or a person to get gone, it was because they were unwanted. They last the last person I saw my papa tell to get gone had a rifle pointed at their face. According to every southern relative I have, get gone and got gone meant that they were unwanted and relegated to trash. I really wish people would stop using these words in reference to this child. Don also said in multiple interviews, "You will never find her." There is another sweeping statement that comes across as a warning and as a cocky response. This was incredibly telling. If you look at his face in the interviews, he says this in you can see a slight flash of a smile across the corner of his right eye. That smile is in response, or in that smile responds on the corners of his mouth. This means that it is a true smile, not faked. In this case, it was a micro flash expression, and you would have had to be looking for it to see it. He does not want this child found. The words are so important. The stories spun out around them are garbage, but the truth has leaked. I believe Dawn and Candace, by use of their words, have confessed to what happened to Summer. My theory is that she was either sold or was meant to be sold. That was what the entire start of Summer's day reads as for what we know is true of that day. If Summer had met her demise, it is likely due to an accident. Did something happen to Summer in this preparation process to get her ready to be transported? One of the things that they do to little girls is place them in cute clothes, give them a good memory, and then drug them in that order, so the parents won't be blamed by the child if the child lives long enough to escape. Did they give her too much of the drug? As a rule, as long as the transporter has the right documents at the border, and today they are easily faked, then the guardian of the sleeping child will not be questioned, and out of likely compassion, the child will not be woke up, especially if it is at night. So was Summer to be sold but accidentally overdosed instead, or was she sold and lived? Let's talk about Candace. This is an allegedly bereaved parent, so much so that she outright says she needs to focus on her boys and put Summer out of her mind. She creates a wish list of everything except things for her children. She goes on YouTube, and when certain presenters who are using her for clickbait and money say it is all about Candace tonight, so no comments about Summer, she does not become angry or disagree with the host. Instead, she agrees with him and goes on to accept money from strangers, which only went to buy drugs and alcohol and allegedly bail another YouTuber out of jail. She does not act, speak, behave, or present psychologically as a mourning mother. She does not search for her daughter. She does not make video pleas for her daughter. She loses her boys to the state, and because it is too far to drive to see them, she simply stops visiting at all and calls maybe once or twice every 3 weeks. Her husband/boyfriend, status unknown, ends up in jail, and she instantly starts partying with people who are not good for her case or reputation. She knows that Summer is never coming back. Furthermore, she doesn't care and is now feeling relieved to be unburdened by a family she never wanted. I am guessing she is a mother because birth control failed. Frankly, the kids are better off out of her reach. Recap. They use words to prevent further questioning, use words that are damning, play ignorant, behave as if nothing has happened, try to convince people via word choice that Summer is gone and she is never coming back, when what they mean is Summer is gone. They made it happen, and people really need to stop looking for her because they know where she is and they are never going to tell. Candace is footloose and fancy-free. Don is in jail, where incidentally Candace and Grandis have been trying to put him for a long time. All of the Wells children are gone, and they are never going to be returned. Candace is currently having the time of her life at YouTube viewers' expense and couldn't be happier. And Grandis and Candace and Don will never tell on each other because of a heaping helping of mutual assured destruction. Mad. They're all a little mad. Remember Jose from New York, who drove here with some buddies and apparently a few kids? You are never going to get a proper timeline out of him because what I believe the reason he came to Kingsport wasn't a house that was just an excuse because he needed one. Apparently, it was Candace's house, allegedly, that suddenly was no longer on the market. But of course, they had never met, but had to communicate somehow if it was her house, huh? Everyone hightailed it back to New York except the courier, the coyote, Jose. The one guy that traveled all over, knew loads of unsavory people, spoke Spanish and English, had a serious drug and alcohol problem himself, and last but not least, ditched his phone into the ocean and still has not established an alibi for Summer's disappearance. Witnesses have come out and said that Jose was still in town around the time Summer went missing. People have that sort of lifestyle where they abuse substances, think very little about the mistreatment of children, evidenced by their lack of reporting or doing anything about it, because living in the middle of it and cuddling with their mom is so much better. Generally, do not get caught for crimes until it gets serious and mistakes get made. Take note that alleged essay or flirtatious activity was had with all three women involved. Allie, Grandis, Candace, and Jose has admitted to all of it, even if the ladies did not. He created bonds with each one and has probably heard pillow talk that has now become a weapon for Mad. This man also made himself out to be saintly. He was very generous with praise details. I hypothesize that Jose may have been the transporter. He suddenly left the area when Summer went missing, and his phone mysteriously made it into the ocean, rendering it irretrievable, especially if it was a burner. Jose has never given a solid statement for his whereabouts for that entire week. Was the phone even registered to him, or was it given to him by whomever was to receive Summer? Was Jose there to spend time with the child to be sure of her quality or defects before transporting her? And did an accident occur before the handoff could be completed? And then the grand finale. He tells a tale of a jealous argument that is timed perfectly for his departure and Summer's disappearance. Was there really a jealous fight, or was it staged? A few days in jail for the thousands of dollars that Don Wells was to receive for payment, or had he already gotten it? Where did all the money come from? They spent money with abandon on anything and everything. Jose vanished into the nether, claims he did not know about the child going missing until the FBI contacted him. He does nothing to try to contact the Wells family or console them or to search for her. A child, he said, was so amazing and so special. Sounds like a transporter to me. Rule one of being a transporter: do not get emotionally attached. It would make sense that Jose could be a transporter and easily remove Summer, or was intended to remove Summer, because he had spent enough time around him. She had spent enough time around him that she trusted him. Remember, she was starved for love. How about Tim Mullins, self-proclaimed yet totally uneducated media manager, hell-bent on gaining the movie rights for the Summerwells and the Michael Vaughn cases? He who, by his own admission, was out on Ben Hill Road searching for Summer when the police started to arrive. How was it possible that he knew about Summer before anyone else? He who claimed he did not really know Dawn or Candace until this event occurred, but also he, according to a classmate earlier this week in a chat column, alleged that Tim and Dawn hung out in high school and were druggy friends. I wish I could remember what the woman's name was. She said she knew them both, and that was why she was following this case, because she went to school with them. Tim Mullins does not have the education necessary to be a media manager. Being a media manager gives him control of the narrative. He, like Jose, have tried to make himself out to be the loving, caring, and heroic towards this family. He even started a YouTube channel devoted to Summer, but all he has managed to do is creep everyone out. I find him very unsettling and suspect. He makes people sign non-disclosure agreements just to visit the wells. Why? What is he hiding? What does Don Wells, Candace Wells, and Jose Roman, Allie, Tim Mullins, and whomever was to receive Summer have in common? Needs looking into. To paint this picture as it seems to appear, Don and Candace, unscrupulously, recklessly, druggy parents, probably in over their heads with children they likely did not want to begin with, making Summer the collateral price to pay, which also conveniently rids them of a prison sentence when Summer is examined for SA and abuse. Allie, the ever-present best friend, faking her anger at Candace over Jose, and likely being the woman in the car talking on the video of Summer because it was certainly not Candace's voice. She who holds knowledge of many of Candace's secrets. She who, while being allegedly flaming angry at Candace, allows her son to go on an outing with Candace the day Summer goes missing, making H not only an alibi but a suspect. Tim controls the narrative when Don and Candace are too drunk and high to keep the story straight. What does he have to gain? Money, movie, and literary rights, and a prime piece of blackmail? I personally believe he knew about the plot before it started. How else could he frame looking for Summer just as the police were arriving, then being neck deep in the case? He holds something over Don's head. What is it? Then there's Jose. Evidence and conversation would show that the connection with Jose is long-standing and not just some poor guy friend of Allie's needing a place to crash for a few weeks. These people are, in my opinion, thick as thieves and as guilty as sin as the altar on Sunday morning, and they have been for quite some time. Shall we revisit the behavioral panel? Why did the behavioral panel give an in-depth professional assessment of Don and Candace instead of an entertaining commentary on them? They did give an in-depth evaluation, just not to the public. It was given to Dr. Phil and the TBI. YouTube was given entertainment value to prevent a lawsuit for defamation of unproven character in a court of law, slander, and libel. They did what they had to do. Why did Dr. Phil say that he believed them? Because of the same reason. Once Candace said she felt like she was being interrogated, they had to de-escalate the situation for legal purposes. They were tiptoeing on legal grounds for a suit. Why did Candace freak completely out when they said cornbread mafia? If you have been following along in this letter, you can see that a clear and concise picture has been painted of an entire ring of people involved. Who else is involved? The TBI, FBI, and local police have brought down many child traffickers in the past year, and many of them are centered around Kingsport, Memphis, Nashville, and places with compact population density. Is it possible that Don and Candace Wells and company could be part of a trafficking ring, either voluntarily because they are not real bright, or by force because of their drug habits? To revisit the most important aspect of this case, the words spoken. Don and Candace and Grandis all echoed, and I do mean echoed, the same story verbatim, over and over again. Same story. Flowers, candy, Helicopter mommed to the front door. 2 minutes later, she vanished. Over and over and over. Then they echoed, "They will never, ever find her." Is this because, like I started earlier, this was a well-planned professional job planned by a mastermind or a team of professional-grade criminals masquerading as saints who just happened to land in the poor innocent Wells circle? Did their plan go ever so wrong because Summer did not live through the transport preparation process? Remember that when she went missing, everyone involved scattered like rats on a sinking ship? This was an open and shut case from the first week. I think the police and TBI know what happened. I think that those two interviews that were given were only given as PR courtesies to tell the public what they wanted them to hear and what they needed the Wells to hear. They were receiving hundreds of calls a day from people asking questions. They had to say something in the end. They did not lie. They just omitted, which is not a crime. The police are not going to give the public critical information. It is important that the perpetrators believe they are getting away with potentially murder. After careful analysis of the detectives' statements, I did find one critically potential leak in his words. Has not been abducted or trafficked out of this area. Forget everything else he said. It's irrelevant. Keywords. Has not been. Present tense, absolute in verbiage. And out. Location sensitive and absolute verbiage. He could not outright say it, but he believes that there is a chance that Summer could be behind any one of 100 local doors. If Summer did not die in an accident at the lake or by ingesting something, where is she and which door? Is it now his job to prove life or death? There's no proof of either that anyone has. If she is behind a local door, which one? He needs proof to go knocking on doors with warrants. These people might be cheesing us all off, but they do know more than we do, because in all their caution, detectives leak too. Listen to words, word categories, and delete everything else. At this point, the story we have been told is irrelevant. What are the words and the players telling us? Jose did not just live with Candace. He groomed the whole family. Time did not just appear like a media fairy. Tim did not just appear like a media fairy on the scene and suddenly had enough information to blackmail them. He already had something on them. Allie is trying to make herself invisible to cover H's backside. H is screwed up because he knows what happened and is behaving like a child with a massive burden that could potentially hurt him if he has been threatened, which I believe he has. Remember that comment that Dawn made about Candace making bad friends? Who is sitting pretty and happy now? Candace. She is not as dumb as she wants people to think. It would not surprise me in the least if she orchestrated this whole thing. The best ringleaders, historically, have always came out of tyrants or appearing to be the lowest of idiots. When they said cornbread mafia, she was probably thinking, I'm busted. They figured it out. She is so selfish and narcissistic that it would take some things like that to make her cry. It is the only thing she cried over. Cornbread mafia equaled in her mind her behavior and scheming. Dawn may have controlled her, but she could have come up with the plans. She no longer has a controller. Please remember these are only my opinion. I won't feel bad if you wildly disagree. In the end, the children are going to pay the price for the selfish adults that surround them. I am going to end this here because it has already gotten way too long. and I am used to writing highly detailed reports. Kindly use whatever of these thoughts you like. Just please do not use my name. Rights of fair use of this information is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and these rights are given only to the people I've listed above. Hopefully this is clear to understand and not too many typos. Mostly I hope it helps. There is a reason I take this case so personally. I will share that later with people I trust privately. Please keep doing the good job, and I am not permitted to do. Thank you. Okay, guys, if you've made it this far, congratulations. Um, don't forget to pray for all the kids. Tell your own children you love them. Call your parents up. Hey, and guys, one thing I keep forgetting, if you have grandparents, you need to spend a little extra time with them. You never know what tomorrow might bring. Show the people that you love that you really care. Spend time with them. Until next time, guys.